You started out as a drummer. Yeah, I'm really interested in how do you get from being a drummer to playing various other instruments and finding your sound there.
You stop playing the drums and you walk over somewhere else?
You just can play everything?
Oh, no, not at all. Drums are my main instrument, and I'm an okay vocalist, I think. I like playing the piano. I wish I was a better pianist, and I like using the studio mainly. I think the studio, other than the drums and a little bit of ability on piano and keyboards, playing synthesizers, I guess music software and just the world of manipulating sound. That's my other instrument.
So on the album Making Mirrors, I found there was a real curve of tension when you start really soft, and there's a kind of loud part in the middle, and then back to soft and a little dubby. Did you really think about building the track list?
Not so much while I was writing the songs. Each song is a little bit like its own world, and I just really want to kind of make that world feel right on its own. And then it's a matter more of choosing, which songs maybe don't fit, and whether there's a bunch of songs that I think do make an interesting record, but whether there's maybe a gap that needs to be filled by something specific, and then maybe writing that specific song to fill that gap. The sequencing is something that happens very much at the end, where I kind of make sense of all the stuff that I've been working on and create a sort of an arc to the record almost as the last thing.
So do you sometimes write a song to fill in a gap?
I did in a couple of cases, yeah. Towards the end of the record, when I felt that some of the songs I'd worked on early on weren't fitting with the rest of everything, and I put them to the side, and then I wrote, say, I Feel Better to fulfill a very specific role on the album.
Can you name such a song from, for example, the new album?
A song written specifically to fill it, I Feel Better. Yeah.
The Motown.
Yeah,
song.
Used as a kind of a pivot on the album to go from the more frustrated, dejected sounds, and the opening of the record is kind of more about the frustration and difficulty, both that I felt making the record and just that sort of I was having as a headspace at different times. And I suppose, I Feel Better is quite literally about the feeling of putting that behind you and turning towards stuff that's more hopeful and more positive and more playful.
So why did you feel that way making the record?
Like with the early songs, kind of frustrated.
Yeah.
It's a challenging record to make because it took a long time, and I had high aspirations for my vocal performance and for the level of production and the way I wanted the mixes to sound. There were just a lot of times where I felt like I just wasn't getting there, and where to get there involved lots of redoing things, or kind of reconsidering, I don't know, just overcoming that frustration, just kind of keeping working while trying to stay positive and not getting too bogged down in the fact that some things hadn't worked yet, that some of the mixes didn't sound right yet, and that I had to give them another go, maybe twice, maybe 3 times.
So you said that each song sounded like it's like a little world for you. So where usually does this kind of world start? With an instrument or with a lyric? Or can you tell me something about that?
It's fairly varied. Sounds are usually the starting point, though. So it might be a break from a record, or it might be the Winter musical fence and the timbre of hitting that fence as a bass line, which then suggests a chord progression or the start of a lyric. There's no songs on the record that were started from a lyric or a melody by itself first. It's really the kind of the melody and the song. The lyric sheet for the song usually all comes as a response to that sound world that already exists. To some extent, it might just be half built, but it has some kind of aura that I guess puts me in a certain frame of mind, and then I'm responding to that sort of feeling to work out what the song is meant to be about.